I want to break down this duel so you can see a certain interaction that might help you win a lot more duels on Frost Mage. So firstly, I want to say I think dueling is an incredible way to learn WoW, since you get to learn one class at a time. And if you aren't dueling actively right now, I would recommend during your shuffle queues to just, find someone in Goldshire outside of Orgrimmar. I think the best, I'm not 100% sure, but I think the best servers for having people out there, at least for Alliance, is Storm Rage, and then for Horde, I think it's Tychondrius. Anyways, I wanted to show a duel versus another Frost Mage here, Halleck. He's actually a relatively high rated Frost Mage on the solo shuffle ladder, and basically there's a technique in this duel that I want to highlight that I think will help a lot of you win more duels on a Frost Mage, or it might just help you in arena if you're in like a scenario where this could be useful. And let's just watch the duel out normally and let it play out organically so you can kind of see how things go down here. So I have Halleck in a full sheep. I apply Frostbomb to him, and then I resheep it. So essentially what this is going to do, this is going to be the technique right here, is that you are playing Master Shepherd talent. So basically Master Shepherd doesn't heal the enemy when they're in a sheep. And what you can do with that is you can pair it with Frostbomb every time sheep DR is off, and you can just keep sheeping them until the explosion. So the reason why this is so good is typically there's a lot of things people can do before the explosion. For one, they can use greater invisibility, which will act as a 60% damage reduction, or they will alter time the explosion of it, essentially negating the damage and negating the value that you can get from Frostbomb in a duel combined with Master Shepherd. So you can actually combine them and then time a spell to hit at the same time as the Frostbolt. So you can see the Frostbomb's about to expire, the Frostbolt cast is about to go off, and then I Ice Nova as soon as it goes off. This essentially means that all the damage is going to hit at one time, and this will mean that the greater invisibility that he does off of that will not affect the damage that he took. So he took half his HP bar in that one go. Now I create some distance, and obviously you can see this sets me up amazingly at the start of the duel, because I essentially start at 100% HP and he starts at 58. Now you have to be I think a really good way to do this, if we actually go back to the start of the clip to further illustrate how I even can sometimes set up people in a sheep at the start of a duel. So that is one thing that is very good on a Frost Mage, is to start with a go. Right as the duel starts, you don't want to just be shoving damage. You want to be trying to actively look to land the first sheep. And this comes with a lot of mind games, because let's think about all the options that could potentially happen. We're both playing Shimmer. We both have the ability to move around off GCD while casting. So this opens up a lot of plays with Dragon's Breath. There's off global Shimmers into Dragon's Breath as a capability, or as a possibility. We also have Shimmer with Sheep, but that won't work because the enemy mage has Counterspell. We also have Counterspell to go through. So I know this. I first test the waters as my first play. I'll test with the Frost School. So I'll go ahead and apply Frostbomb. If he does kick this, then I think that really opens up plays for me, because I'm eating kick on Frost, which is kind of a pointless school at the start of the duel, because I'm looking to either Shimmer DB, which is both Arcane and Fire, and then I'm also just looking to be able to have my counterspell available, which is Arcane. Starting with Frost is very good. He doesn't kick it, and he opts to go for some spell steals here just to pad his buffs with barrier. So at this point, since the Frostbomb does go off, I kind of shift gears a little bit, and I'm like, okay, you know what, I'll try to make this Frostbomb crit. So I apply my flurries now, and I'm going to try to spell steal his barriers in order for the Frostbomb to actually do HP damage, not barrier damage. So if I can get these barriers off, that would be insane, because dealing HP damage is what you're really concerned about. If you have the ability to not damage into barriers, that would be ideal. Now he starts threatening sheep. Now I think this is where a lot of people would start panicking and either try to instantly kick this. One thing with your kick is you want to be very patient. Ideally, you want to kick at the very end of the cast. This is how you'll avoid getting faked most of the times. So you can see I'm just still using my globals, even though the sheep is halfway over. I have to put myself on GCD by pressing Spell Steal. I got Arcane Intellect, and at the very end of the cast, he fakes it. So that was a really well played fake by Halleck. And then now he has precog, this gets a little bit sketchy. I activate Icy Veins because I know I'm going to have to do a lot of globals in a row to dodge this precog sheep. I have a couple options. I have like Shadow Meld, I have Wall, or I could try and range it. So what I do for the first one is I press Wall, and that's going to turn me invisible and cancel his cast. This next one, I meld it, and then now I range it with Shimmer. He didn't make the play of pre-shimmering in a certain direction to try to predict my blink away. So I double Shimmer it, and then he shimmers on top of me to try to get it, and I just range it with 40 yards, thankfully. So yeah, that was a really well played start by Halleck, which forced me into like a really uncomfortable position where I had to burn a lot of options like greater invis and meld. But you can see the importance of not getting shept at the start, and this is like a skill, I want to say like a mind game between you and the opponent, that this technique in dueling really helps you with. If you know how to avoid CC from other classes, that is something that's going to be very useful. Especially a lot of people comment on my videos or DM me about tunnel vision. I would say this is a large part of tunnel vision as well, because whenever you learn how to not only avoid damage from classes but also CC, you tend to find yourselves in less situations that catch you off guard, and a lot of off guard situations in a row kind of disorients you in a way. You can see he displaces back because he knows his momentum, or his ability to get momentum off the precog, is now gone, so he retreats a little bit. So now I'm trying to make my advancement up because I have veins, but it's actually bad for me now that I think about it. I should have probably shifting while I was back here to get some of my options back, because I don't really have a way to stop this sheep. So he should just sheep me here. So I do the same thing that I started the duel with, is I threatened with the Frost School. So you might be thinking like, why are you purposely getting kicked on Ray? That seems dumb. That's like your biggest damage. Well, it's because I need to eat kick on Frost, like I explained at the start, so that I can sheep freely. So I do land the sheep, and you can see I'm immediately pre-casting it with the intent of him trinketing, of outplaying his trinket, because a play he could make is like trinket and start his sheep right away. But if I precast, that way I'll play that. You can see I only go for it about one time. Now I shift, Frostbomb, poly again, time out the Frostbolt, big shatter there, and then I range his polymorph there. Even though I do have counterspell, the longer I have counterspell, the harder his job becomes. And I also I want to maximize the amount of time that I don't give him precog. It is possible that he fakes here again. So instead of gambling that, I just decide to range it. And then now at this point, you can decide to switch up your kick pattern if you want. Kicking early on this next poly, knowing that he's fishing for it, could be a good play instead of late, because we've identified that he knows that we kick late and that he will fake at the end. So we want to change up our kick pattern next time into him. So I'm trying to spell steal the barriers. It's very good to spell steal barriers, especially in the mage 1v1. So you can see I actually wait for his, well, I didn't wait for his displace beacon, but a good play, since Frost Mage actually has kind of a mana issue with spell steal, would be to have waited for this displacement beacon to end. Since if I did get that, it would be 2 spell steals to get barrier. Luckily, I do get the barrier. I blink out of Comet Storm. I'm ice lancing him with Flurry. He alters, but he only has 1 buff, so I go ahead and should spell steal it. I don't know what I'm doing. Wait, bro, am I crazy? So anyways, I just decided to damage into it. Oh, let me back it up. I don't know what I was thinking there. So he blinks on top of me, so I opt to just DB him into a sheep. So now I can do the same thing. So I have Frostbomb here. You can notice I do wait for the buff to fall so I can steal his barrier. I'll back it up just to illustrate. So you can see Displace Beacon is on him now. I get the sheep though, and I can just do the same technique again. So wait for the sheep to be about over. I Frostbomb, resheep. Displace Beacon is gone now. Resheep, steal the barrier. 1 more sheep. Time to Ice Nova, or sorry, I timed to Flurry with it this time. So this first shimmer for me is an attempt to dodge Dragon's Breath. So boom, he has a barrier up. I don't really have the mana to get this one. If I did it, it would put me at like 0%, which would actually make some of my spells not usable. So I opt to try to not spell steal that, I believe. Instead, I know he has DB here, so I'm trying to shimmer it. So this first one is an attempt to do so. Now, I definitely needed to predict his shimmer DB on me, so I either needed to shimmer again or pre-displace this. Bad by me. But I do have Trinket, so I have the option to either Trinket aggressively here and try to kill with a counterspell. So the way you want to use Trinket in the Mage Mirror most of the time is like to Trinket counterspell. I just let him sit it because I opt to, you know, kicking Frost is not the best school, really. It's okay sometimes, but to really control the duel, I think you want to try to kick on Arcane. So I'm just kind of holding my Trinket kick for something. So So I Trinket kick Frost Bomb, and now since I'm on Sheep DR, that would be the best time to kick Frost. So I opt to just Trinket kick Frost Bomb, which will keep me ahead in damage. He can't really CC me now because the most he could do is like half Sheep, and now I just start doing a lot of damage here. One thing I have to keep in mind is he has Counterspell. So he comes out a little early. I get the Sheep on him, and then now you can see I'm just controlling him. I don't actually have Frost Bomb for this, so I just decided to Frost Bolt. I cancel my barrier because he has more mana than me. He can just spell steal my barriers. Kick him on Sheep, which allows us to just cast because he can't use Counterspell now. Get some free casts. Alters the Frost Bomb, alters back. I'm just killing him with instant cast damage. Range the Frost Bomb. Boom. Ice Lance displaces for heal. DB is shifting power into Sheep. And then I just do the Frost Bomb technique. And he goes out. He just dies here. No, actually, he blocks it. I miss my kick again. Double tap alter to range. He gets the Frost Bomb. He raised me. I meld it. And you can also see I use Greater Invis to reduce the Frost Bomb damage while also dishing out damage of my own. Trying to end the game here. Ready to bait kick into Sheep. Wait for it to be over. The kick. Then a Frost Bomb. 2 re-sheeps. Big shatter. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And let me know how your guys' duels go with this technique and this kind of playstyle. You could even also play Snowdrift if you wanted to. I usually don't play it into like other mages because normally, well, it's actually kind of good always, even into mage, because into mage you could force them to play blink, and blink would really screw up their mobility in terms of DB sheeping. But typically, yeah, you could also play, because you definitely need to play Master Shepherd. Then you also need to play Frost Bomb, and then with the third PvP talent, you can just play Snowdrift as well in duels. It's very good to do that. And then you sheep them into Ring and then into Snowdrift. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and peace out.